Hi friends, Steve here in Studio City, California, in front of Radford Studios. You see also CBS Studios. Long ago this used to be Republic Studios, where John Wayne got his start making most of his movies in the early days. And it's just right about a block from Ventura Boulevard here, and they have the, I don't know if it's called the Studio City Walk of Stars or Ventura Boulevard Walk of Stars. I've been walking and seeing how many I could find. It's over 100 degrees, or actually it's just 100 degrees now. It's around 10:30 in the morning, and it's also humid, so it's pretty hot. So the reason I'm here today is because Leave It to Beaver was filmed here. And I've been looking for the last couple hours in this extreme heat for the Leave It to Beaver star, and I haven't been able to find one. So I don't know if I just missed it. Maybe that particular TV show didn't have one. I did find Mary Tyler Moore's star, and this is where the Mary Tyler Moore show was filmed. And this is the first time I've been here. I've seen other vloggers come here, but I wanted to come and see in person. I lived up here in Hollywood for around 15 years, and I did see a lot of the sites that I'm now getting back to visit now that I have a YouTube channel and something to record with. Back then, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have YouTube. It was back in the 80s, actually 70s and 80s when I lived in West Hollywood. But on today's trip down memory lane, I'm in search of as many of the final resting places that I can find here in the Southern California area for the cast members of the classic TV sitcom Leave It to Beaver. I just thought it would be fun to start here today since the show originally filmed here in its early seasons. The popular sitcom was on the air for 6 seasons from 1957 to 1963. And in case you haven't seen it, the show revolves around Theodore Cleaver, also known as the Beaver, who was played by actor Jerry Mathers. The series follows the Beaver as he grows up in a very wholesome and loving middle-class American family in the 1950s and 60s. At the end of this video, I'll be giving a shout out to all of you who suggested that I do this vlog, and they just happen to be having a farmer's market here today at the end of the street, so if you make it to the end of this video, I'll show you a little bit of that as well. Before heading to my next destination today, I quickly want to share with you a little movie and TV trivia about the studio here. It was originally opened by silent film producer and director Max Sennett in 1928. 5 years later, the studio was taken over by Mascot Pictures, and then later by Monogram Pictures, and then eventually they merged and became Republic Pictures. And Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, and John Wayne all got their start right here at Republic Pictures. Not long after that, TV shows such as Leave It to Beaver, Rifleman, The Big Valley, Gunsmoke, My Three Sons, Gilligan's Island, and many others began filming here. And in the 1970s, Mary Tyler Moore Show, Rhoda, Phyllis, and Lou Grant were all filmed here. Eventually, CBS purchased the studio, and now shows like The Survivor finale and Big Brother are filmed here. With all of this movie and TV history, it's really unfortunate that they don't currently offer studio tours. Just 5 miles east of here is Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the Hollywood Hills, and this is where character actor Bert Mustin is laid to rest. He played one of my favorite characters on the show, Gus the Fireman. He wasn't one of the main characters, but his appearances were always memorable. Mustin died at the age of 92 in Glendale, California on January 28, 1977. And he was just one of the many supporting characters that made this show such a classic. One of the central characters of the show was Wally's friend, Eddie Haskell. Eddie was played by actor Ken Osmond, who sadly died earlier this year here in Los Angeles at the age of 76. He died from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease on May 18, 2020. According to his Find a Grave memorial page, he was cremated and has no final resting place to visit at this time. Hopefully his family will inter his ashes somewhere where fans can visit. He played such an iconic character on the show that I'm sure he has many fans. Just 7 miles east of Forest Lawn in the Hollywood Hills is Forest Lawn Memorial Park in the city of Glendale. And that's where I'm headed next. Like Bert Mustin, character actress Doris Packer wasn't a central character, but she played the role of Principal Cornelia Rayburn, and her appearances on screen were always memorable. To find her final resting place, you drive in through the front gates and you drive straight ahead until the road starts to curve to the right. The section on the left-hand side will be the Wee Kirk Churchyard section, where she's laid to rest about halfway down this very steep hill. I definitely got my exercise workout here today. Packard died here in Glendale, California at the age of 74 on March 31st, 1979. Actress Sue Randall, who played the Beaver's teacher, Miss Alice Landers, died from lung cancer at the very young age of 49 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on October 26, 1984. Her body was donated to medical science, so she has no final resting place to visit. My next stop is Hillside Memorial Park in Culver City, which is around 23 miles southwest of Forest Lawn here in Glendale. Actor Frank Bank played Clarence Rutherford, whose nickname was Lumpy. He's laid to rest just inside the front gates on the hillside just below the main mausoleum. Bank died from cancer in Rancho Mirage, California on April 13, 2013 at the age of 71. Actor Stanley Fafara, who played Whitey, died of complications from surgery at the young age of 53 on September 20th, 2003 in Portland, Oregon. He's laid to rest in the Redland Pioneer Cemetery in Redland, Oregon. My next cemetery stop is just 8 miles northwest of Culver City. This is where actress Barbara Billingsley, who played June Cleaver, the Beaver's mother, is laid to rest. This is a pretty small cemetery, and Billingsley's grave site is pretty easy to find. You drive straight back through the front gates until you reach the mausoleum, and then her section, which is called Block 12, is just to the right. And I'll pan around so you can get a better idea of where she's located. It's also fun to see that she has the name of her character, June Cleaver, included on her headstone. Billingsley lived to be 94 years old. She died from polymyalgia here in Santa Monica on October 16, 2010. Her TV husband, Ward Cleaver, was played by actor Hugh Beaumont. Beaumont died from a heart attack at the age of 73 in Munich, Germany on May 14, 1982. According to his Find a Grave memorial page, he was cremated and his ashes were scattered. Actor Richard Deacon, who played Fred Rutherford, died from a heart attack at the age of 63 here in Los Angeles on August 8, 1984. He was also cremated and has no final resting place to visit at this time. And here's another more close-up look at Barbara Billingsley and June Cleaver's headstone. I'm happy to say that many of the other cast members are still alive. Buddy Joe Hooker, who played Wally's friend Chester, is now 78 years old. Stephen Talbot, who played the Beaver's friend Gilbert, is now 71 years old. Rusty Stevens, who played the Beaver's friend Larry Mondello, is now 72 years old. Rich Correll, who played the Beaver's friend Richard Rickover, is also 72 years old. Jeri Weil, who played the Beaver's classmate Judy Hensler, is also 72 years old. And Tiger Fafara, who played Wally's friend Tui Brown, is now 75 years old. Actor Tony Dow, who played the Beaver's older and wiser brother Wally, is also now 75 years old. He was born in Hollywood, California, and on a fun side note, I just learned that his mother was Muriel Virginia Dow, a Hollywood stunt woman, and actress Clara Bow's movie double. The star of the show, Theodore Cleaver, whose nickname was the Beaver, was played by actor Jerry Mathers, who's now 72 years old. It's nice to know that so many of them are still with us and that they're just as popular today as they were 6 decades ago. And here's the farmers market that I mentioned earlier that's just steps away from the CBS Studio Center where Leave It to Beaver was filmed more than 60 years ago. And I want to give a shout out and a thank you to all of my subscribers who mentioned this show or suggested that I do a vlog about it. Thank you, Celtics20078, Philip LaFlamme, Darren Long, Richard Bain, Clarence Hodges, Ruth Ann Blank, Henry Gonzalez, John H., and David Bond. And this week I'd like to give a shout out and a very big thank you to my newest Patreon supporters, Tom Anderson and David Trison. I'd also like to thank 2 of my existing Patreon supporters, Miles High and Roger Phillips, for recently increasing their contributions. Thank you so much, Tom, David, Miles, and Roger, for your extra generous support of this channel. So until our next trip down memory lane together, happy travels, everyone.